This judgment was delivered in?
This is 30th November 2016.
Thank you.
So when you see that it is happening more under this administration, I want us to make two observations. Number one is that that's the first administration after the court pointed to this. But even then, also take note that the possible alternative in electoral terms is President Mahama still contesting. President Mahama is the one who has reported Abronye DC to the police under the same law. So it signals to you that from the political class, this is still going to be with us if we all don't have the humility to pause and say, where are we? But I said I wanted to, this is what the court said. Thus, in the legislative antecedents of this country, all matters which have the effect of restricting free expression have been made laws by acts of parliament. Examples are the Cinematographic Act, 1961, Act 76, which permits some form of film censorship and create offenses with criminal sanctions for infractions thereof. Public Order Act 1994, Act 491. The Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29, which criminalizes minor offenses like use of insulting words, Section 207. Publication of false news, Section 208. All of which impose some restrictions on free expression, but they can be justified in terms of Article 164 of the Constitution in protection of the rights and reputations of other persons. So the court hints for the first time at the appropriateness of the use of these legislations. You understand? So when you have clear judicial direction like this, we do not need to hassle ourselves too much to understand where this started from. If you would recall, when this judgment was given, I said that there were 7 major problems we were going to be confronted with. This is the second. The first came to pass without notice. It was the fight between Giba and the Ministry of Communications over the allegation that the ministry was going to give Star Times a license to operate communication services in Ghana. When we were working on LI 2224, there had been a global trend where the Chinese were forcing governments across Africa to cede off considerable part of their spectrum. And they were entering the markets, killing off local media, doing a lot of propaganda, and then stifling attacks on the Chinese, particularly in the extractive industries. So if you saw our anti-Galamsey fight, we used the media to fight considerably.
Right.
The then Chinese ambassador, who was here, a lady, actually wrote, according to City FM, to the president, asking the president to discipline the media in Ghana.
Yep.
It is a strategy that they have had in Central Europe, a lot of places, where they sought considerable influence in the media. So one of the things we did was to say, and this is long before President Akufo-Addo, as you recall from LI 2224.
Yes.
So we need a system that authorizes the delivery of communications content services, so that even if they were able to force the government to give them frequencies without the authorization for content services, they could not operate. And we needed this within the ambit of the National Media Commission, where Giba is a member, so that at least all of us can discuss the implications of these actions. You understand? That was one quick element. Give me a minute to explain the other element. Within the evolution of communications technology, telcos are delivering more content now. If you check the books of Vodafone UK, for example, substantial part of their money, revenues for the last couple of years, has come from content on demand. In Ghana here, MTN had experimented with MTN Radio, which was on short code 1303. The same MTN at the time was running a pornographic service on short code 1516. When we put those laws before Parliament, we showed them how the service was operating. None of these had been licensed to provide content services. It was important that you brought all of them under some regulation so that as they were entering the market, at least GIBA as NMC member could have the opportunity to demand regulatory impact analysis before these services could run. If you follow the last census, a lot of the communication on the census was done within the networks of MTN. That was considerable adverts you were pulling away from broadcasting. So these were some of the key reasons why we needed this kind of situation. This is water under the bridge.
Okay.
Where are we now? It appears to me that we can't shout the challenges out of existence. Now the court has pointed towards the use of this law. The police has found it useful. I expect that they would continue to use it. And let us also be very clear with the people of Ghana that, as you rightly pointed out, it's the same law the IG used over false prophecy and all those things. Outside the false prophecy, every society, without the misapplication, every democratic society, I should say, requires this kind of legislation. This is what Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes of the US said, address situations of shouting fire in a crowded theater. There are circumstances where people can cause problems. Our difficulty now is that they are being applied in a circumstance that makes us uncomfortable. All that I want to put on the table for now is that it is not by accident. There's been a certain evolution. And so if we want to address the problem, we need to address it within its context. The attempt to overly analyze it solely within the context of politics or partisan politics is not going to help us address the things.
Okay.
Because we will leave the Akufo-Addo administration only to come to another administration which may find comfort in the application of the law.
So you have already